You know exactly how important it is to correctly reference the sources you've cited in your work. But what do you do if you can't find an author's surname, page numbers, a date of publication, or even the title of the work you're citing? Don't worry, this video will be your survival guide for missing information in Harvard referencing. First off, I have to say, Harvard referencing isn't a single unified style. It's a general referencing style used by many different universities in varied ways. It refers to a generic author date referencing style. So be sure to check your university's style guide or consult with your course instructor for any specific guidelines for your version of Harvard referencing. In this series of videos, I'm going to be using Proof's in-house guidelines on Harvard referencing. Most other versions of Harvard referencing use similar rules, especially for missing information. So it's useful to know. Let's go. No named author. If there's no individual author for the source you're citing, you can usually cite the organization, group, or business name that created the source. So if you were citing a page from the Swim England website where there are no named individual authors, you can simply cite Swim England. An in-text citation would look like this: learning to swim is important for safety, Swim England 2023. And in your reference list, Swim England 2023. When should my child stop swimming lessons? Online, available at, with the stable URL, and the date that you accessed the source. If you can't find an organizational author, you can sometimes use the title of the source in place of the author's name. Make sure to check very carefully though, because most sources will have an organizational name. No publication year. If a source doesn't have a clear date of publication, you can use the abbreviation ND to signify no date. Your in-text citation would look like this: the training helps people to develop self-awareness, National Theatre, ND. And in your reference list, National Theatre, ND, Theatre Works, online, available at, stable URL, and the date you accessed the source. No title. While rare, you might come across a source that doesn't have a clear title, a painting or another visual work, for example. In place of a title, Proof's version of Harvard referencing recommends using a short description of the work in squared brackets. You can note the medium and what it depicts or discusses. For example, finger painting of elderly lady in party hat. If an untitled source also lacks an author, you can use a shortened version of this description for your in-text citations as well. But be very careful to check for all of these details before leaving them out. No page numbers. If you need to quote or paraphrase a specific part of a source that doesn't have page numbers, your best option will depend on the type, length, and complexity of the source. For very short texts, such as a web page with only a few paragraphs, some versions of Harvard referencing say to leave out the pinpoint citation completely. This is because, in theory, it should be easy enough to find the quoted passage without directly citing a specific part of the text. If you want to be sure that readers can find the text you're quoting though, you can use the paragraph number after the abbreviation para. If the paragraphs aren't already numbered in the source you're citing, simply count down until you find the paragraph you've cited from and give it its respective number. For example, Smith 2003 para 6 rejects the supposed need for page numbers. For longer or more complex texts, you can often cite a section or chapter title, or you can cite a section title and paragraph number for extra accuracy. And for audiovisual sources such as podcasts, you can cite a time code. This means the exact time in the source that the quote occurs. For example, on the podcast he says he still hates page numbers with a passion. Smith 2020, 23:12. Don't forget that Harvard style can vary greatly. So be sure to check your university's style guide or consult with your course instructor for the specific guidelines for your work. Hopefully though, this video has helped you with some general guidance for how to get round missing information when citing sources in your work. Check out the Harvard referencing playlist on the channel. If there are specific Harvard referencing questions you'd like me to try and answer, let me know in the comments. I'll even make a video to add to the playlist. As always, I've linked handy resources in the description, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more weekly guidance so we can make your writing proof.